Alrighty, we are back. Your favorite podcast show of the week. It is Location Weekly. It is episode number 538. We are recording live on October the 12th. Aubriana, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Starting to get fall here in New York. We're in October baseball. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are good. I can't complain too much, but how are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Yes, it was a good Thanksgiving up here in Canada this past weekend, and way too much food, as is expected, I guess, with Thanksgivings and Christmases and things like that. But yeah, it was good. It was nice to see some family and kind of just get together and all the things that come with that. So it was good. Yeah, and October baseball has been interesting, even though my Blue Jays and Yankees and all these people are out now. It's I guess your Braves are still there, so that's good, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
Braves are still
Yeah.
there, and those pesky Red Sox advanced last night. So um, yeah. So anyways, it's still fun to watch, right? And hockey and basketball and all of that is getting going again. So there's certainly lots of sports to entertain us. So we have a good show for you this week. Four stories. It was great to have Karsten last week with us, and he's back in Germany now, and starting up the trade show circuit and things like that are easing back into existence. So I know he's got an event this week, but so we wish him and everybody over there well. So yeah, we'll jump into our stories. The first one, Brianna, as usual, will kick us off with kind of something interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think this is pretty interesting. Home Depot is partnering up with another big giant, Walmart, to deliver their goods. This is a little surprising for me, I must say, but Walmart's going to be, extending their Go Local platform. They launched this, a few months ago, and so this is like their first client is Home Depot of all people, right? Walmart is going to be providing that last mile delivery for them, and so paint, tools, online purchases straight to the consumer. So same day, next day service is what they're going to be providing. It is limited to home improvement purchases that would be able to fit into the car. They're not going to be giving cuts of wood or pipes and things like that likely, but more paintbrushes and nails and all that stuff. They're hoping, Walmart's been hoping to attract other customers from obviously larger enterprise level and national level to smaller local level, for these last mile deliveries, sort of like like an Instacart or Uber Eats type of a play here. And these deliveries are, it's part of the gig economy. So you've got those drivers that have joined through Walmart's delivery platform, which is called Spark Driver. And they're starting this out right now in select stores in New Mexico, Texas, and Arkansas over the next few weeks. And then they're going to expand to other markets across the country before the end of the year. So obviously, this is a new revenue stream for Walmart. It makes a lot of sense. I think it helps Home Depot in the short term because they Home Depot's, it's tough. Like it's tough to get stuff sometimes, even though you have Home Depots like locally everywhere. Very often, a lot of times they're out of what you need, and just moving recently and having to order things online from Home Depot. I know that it took like 2 weeks to get some paint. I mean, and in such like an immediate need type of a commerce, right now, and consumers wanting things right away, or at least in the next 2 days, that's kind of a long wait. So I think that they really do need help in this area. It's a little surprising that they're not trying to do this on their own, because I think Walmart is really the winner in this partnership. Obviously, they have a huge footprint. They've got, let's see, how many stores? 4,700 stores. So about 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart store. I'm not one of them now. Can you believe it? There's not a Walmart store near New York City. I got to go to Jersey. Anyways, I think that the risk though here is on Home Depot, because obviously Home Depot still has a ton of stores, 2,300 stores, but their e-commerce year over year in 2020 grew 86%. I mean, that's some massive growth, and they just can't keep up. So they're depending on another party. But what is Walmart getting? Walmart's getting consumer purchase data, behavior data. They're, as they look to expand and then grow beyond this retail that they have, and look at their advertising services, health clinics, their fintech startups, all these things. I think they're the true winner because, one, they're creating an additional revenue stream, but all the additional data that they're capturing from these types of deliveries and delivering other things, I think positions them even better to compete with like an Amazon, right? So I don't know. I find that the winner of this partnership is definitely Walmart, and consumers who need Home Depot goods quicker. But long term, I think there's some risk on Home Depot. Thoughts?
Yeah, like first of all, when I read the story, like you, I was surprised to see these two big retailers, working together in this way. Like number one, that Home Depot, like we've talked about Home Depot using Uber or other delivery services, to deliver Christmas trees or other things in the past. So I'm surprised to see, sort of this partnership with Walmart, and I think as you alluded to, they've got the 4,700 stores. 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart. So there is that sort of last mile, close to the consumer aspect, that they're able to leverage, which I think is if from a Walmart perspective, I think is really good. It kind of the thought running through my head as I was listening to you speak is going back a few years ago, we saw sort of this movement by large retailers, Walmart, Home Depot, many others, um, around creating their own payments networks, to kind of disrupt the high fees that they were paying with credit cards and so on and so forth. So we saw the creation of the Merchant Customer Exchange, the MCX network. There was another one called Current C. All of those kind of came together, were a lot of media around them, a lot of kind of promotion, and kind of like, hey, we'll create our own kind of payment network and reduce the fees that we're all paying because we control it, and we're not beholden to the banks and the credit card companies. And that was an experiment that failed. It didn't really go anywhere, in the long run, because it's not their core business, right? And what we're seeing here, I think, is Walmart and many retailers now saying, we need to look for revenue outside of our core business, which is selling goods in our stores to customers or online. So whether that's delivery and logistics, or other things that we have some internal expertise in that we can open up to others, maybe there's a play here. My personal feeling on this is I don't think this is gonna, sort of be something that's gonna last a long time. It's gonna follow the same sort of path of, the attempts by the retail industry around payments. And ultimately MCX was shut down literally, I think 9 or 10 months after it started. I think JP Morgan or some bank bought the whatever IP or tech that they created, and that was the end of it. So, that's kind of what I expect here, because there are companies that are really good at this stuff. Uber and Lyft and many others that are out there now. And I think that if you really want to do this and you want to do it well, there are companies you can turn to that have specialize in just that. And I think ultimately they will be the winners, in that field, as they already are in some respects. And I think this is, an interesting experiment, but personally, I don't see it as having a lot of legs. That's kind of my take on it.
And do you think, though, that the recent testing that Walmart's done a lot with, like drone delivery and all of that, is going to change things at all? Or because there's not a clear winner there yet, right? Like
Yeah.
that's still TBD. So maybe that's kind of where they're going and where their head's at. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, we've talked a lot on the show about UPS and FedEx and these guys all doing drone delivery services and all kinds of other things that they're testing with companies like Kroger and Walmart and others too, right? So,
Mhm.
again, I think the logistics companies, the players in that space, will ultimately be the ones that excel, right, and win. short of, some of the smaller ones potentially being acquired or something like that and rolled into a big, a big retailer or powering a retailer network. That's a different play. But when they're trying to do it on their own and trying to bring other retailers together, to me, it's, I see the same sort of storyline developing here as I saw with MCX. So
it is a little like, I wonder why this has never happened. That, you've got two Atlanta-based companies in UPS and Home Depot. Like, why have they not partnered up on this, right? Why have they not taken
yeah,
advantage of that connection? And who knows, like, what the reasoning is, but it kind of shows like who's actually trying to innovate and who's just relying on what they've always done in the same way. And yeah, people need to wake up and not Kodak out here.
yeah. All right, so moving on to our second story, sticking with retail, we'll go over across the pond to Europe to the Dutch supermarket chain Albert Heijn, and these guys are kind of like taking a similar page out of Walmart here, trying to find new revenue streams. And in this case, what they're trying to do is make money out of their customers through their app platform and through their e-commerce platform by selling advertising space to brands whose products they carry in their stores. But doing it in a sort of Google AdWords type of framework. This story to me is really interesting because I've been talking for years now about retailers, being able to monetize, their media, like their space essentially, whether that's physically inside the store. I've talked in the past about leveraging beacon networks and things like that were built to understand who's in there and pushing messages and having brands pay for that, and outbidding each other in a Google AdWords type of model. That's one way to do it inside the store, but these guys are doing it, in the e-commerce side of things with their website and their app. And I think it's actually quite smart, because they own that real estate, they own those eyeballs and those customers already, and it's quite a captive audience. And so I think if you can, look at it and say, okay, hey, we're a supermarket chain, and we have, Coke and Pepsi that we carry in the store, and we can create an opportunity, on our own media channel for Coke to bid higher for that ad placement or than Pepsi, then why wouldn't we do that, right? It's kind of like their own closed Google AdWords network within their own retail environment. And again, I've been promoting this for a long time, so I'm really excited to see that retailers are starting to go there. We've talked a little bit. I think CVS was experimenting as well with their own sort of media offering. And starting to kind of go in this direction as well in the U.S. And so, what I see here is this, unlike the Walmart story where we're trying to kind of get into a space where there are lots of established players. This is a different animal for me because this is something that you own, you control. It's within your own sandbox. You're just taking sort of the concept of Google AdWords and applying it to your own media on products that you already sell and with brands you already work with and have relationships with. And so I think this is a great way to find, additional revenue. And, I'm excited to kind of see where that one goes. And yeah, and I know like other retailers are really starting to look at this type of data play around their own media and their own offerings and their own, sort of customer segments. So what are your thoughts?
This story reminds me of something that I built and we tested years ago when I was still at Digital Envoy. So we had built this offers network, and probably a little a little less intricate than Google AdWords, but it was an offers network that was basically utilizing location, but also allowing retailers to take advantage of their digital real estate, right? So you have that, you own that, it's yours. Take advantage of those eyeballs, not only for deals that are going to draw consumers into your physical store or to purchase through your app or your store, but also to monetize things that would not be competitive. So you're a supermarket, perhaps you are showing nearby offers for something that would be like salon care or whatever. So allowing the retailers to actually choose like what they display and to who, and providing that context. And it was it was like just an alpha that we ran, and didn't really pursue it for a long time. I think there were some concerns around privacy, but I think that this works in the fact that the retailer is the one who's actually building the technology and they own it. But I do think it's something they could white label and allow other retailers to use and embed and bake into their apps and their websites. So I think this is good. Like this is it's a good play, and it's also, you know, in a world where we are seeing the third party data availability continue to go down, this is, you know, a way that retailers can still take advantage of that and provide that context and data and information and pass it through to those SKUs that are in their store, like you said, like the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas. So I like this story. I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely has some opportunity there that they can leverage. So cool.
All right, so let's go to another giant. Apple is upping their game on the Find My Phone features. I use this often, you know, trying to find something that I've lost. Right now, I'm missing one earbud. You know, that's like the AirPod, like one AirPod, and I just can't, you know, can't seem to find it. Wish I could track it. Battery's dead. We're done. But some progress is being made, right? iOS 15 is letting you track your phone even when it's switched off or reset. How, you ask? Well, it's going to keep emitting this Bluetooth blip like an AirTag, and it will just continue to do that. This anonymous encrypted blip, it's picked up by any Apple device that's passing by. It's uploaded to the company's servers, and then it's, you know, those location kind of blips or kind of breadcrumbs, if you will, live there until you need it. So the you know, the Apple servers are saving it. They'll pass it on to you and only you know, when you log on to your account to see if you need it. But the AirTags last for a year or more on a single coin cell. So iPhone's battery should, you know, make sure that that is good for a really long time, which is crazy. And it would keep working even if the iPhone was erased. So maybe people will finally stop stealing iPhones. I don't know. Maybe not. You know, separation alerts will also let you know if you forgot something. So you can tag certain things and say like, oh, hey, you're leaving this location without your phone or your watch. And they're still focused on privacy. Obviously, you can disable location in the settings still. You can have, you know, you can disable location when the battery is getting really low. And right now, the warnings don't work with AirPods, but they're supposedly like rolling out new features. And so when they're finished adding new features, that's going to be added in as well. And I have to say, I have like a personal story about the AirTags, about just like how crazy and well they work, surprisingly. But my husband was traveling back from Idaho, and he had bought, you know, something like large and expensive, but he couldn't put it on the plane. It was one of those like Segway things, right? So you can't put it on the plane. It's got lithium battery. So it needed to ship. And, you know, so he took it to FedEx, UPS, whatever, pays to ship it. And he's like, man, I don't think that AirTag's working. It's still in the same place, you know, and I shipped it like 2 weeks ago. Like something happened. It's just not there. Sure enough, finally sees it start to move, calls the shipping company, and they had it like sitting in their office space for like 2 weeks, never put it on a truck, which is incredible. But it was amazing because he said, you know, once it actually started moving, he could see it like almost like turn by turn directions, how good it was. So it was really, really cool to see that that's what's happening. And imagine, you know, right now, I think we're so limited when we lose our phone, right? You know, you're like, oh, it could be in this huge radius. But now I think we're getting more fine-tuned, more granular. And the fact that this would work even if the phone battery dies is like really, really great. So I'm excited about this because I lose things and I like to find things. So it's good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to add to this. I think it's really, you know, really useful tech, right? I mean, I think this is, you know, we've all experienced this from time to time where you've misplaced your phone or your keys or your something. You know, and I think the challenge is that it's one thing if, you know, the thing is powered on and you can kind of make it ring or whatever that you do. But you know, the fact that this works even when it's dead or it's shut off is, I think the real, you know, power in what they built here. And I to me, this is super useful, right? I think that's that's a common thing that you've lost it and then it's just died, and now where is it, right? And you can't ring it because it's not on. It doesn't have any power, and so being able to locate something that way, I think, makes a ton of sense to me. Yeah, I think people, are legitimately going to question, how it works and the privacy aspects of it, and but at the end of the day, it's an anonymous encrypted signal that's being sent and held, as you said, for a year, um, and there's probably going to be a time when you need it. So, I'm always in the camp of, with anything to do with location data, is if you can build something that is useful and has real utility and value to the consumer, they should be okay with that, right? Because you're doing something that they want. You're giving them something that they want. And so, I think it's when people are using location data in a way that they're just exploiting it, and they're running ads on it or monetizing it without delivering something that's directly valuable to that consumer. That's when we absolutely should be questioning it. So I think this is great. It's a solid piece. So. All right, our final story then is a company, well, two companies actually. A company called Playfair Group has teamed up with a company called Audiences Unlimited. And for 22 years now, they have been doing something called Jukebox Saturday Nights. And I just read this story and I'm like, it's not true location tech, but it's location-based marketing or experiences. And I thought, like, it's just cool, it's interesting. I'm gonna talk about it this week. And so basically what they do is they go into seniors residences, so Audiences Unlimited is a not-for-profit that works in the space. And they do these jukebox Saturday nights. They bring in a mobile jukebox machine, and it's 100% free to any of the facilities or the homes that they're going into. It's a free play, mobile, wheelchair accessible jukebox machine, and they go into these care facilities, and they give the people a fun time, right? And I just think it's amazing, right? So they've done this in different areas. They've got different soundtracks. They sort of team it up with other events like ice cream socials or dance parties on the front lawns, or whatever the case might be. And I just think, to me, this is sort of just a great use of tech, and a great use of just mobile environments and music. And when I read the story, I was like, hey, first of all, it's amazing, and this is like, we need more of this. But I started thinking about some of our kind of more traditional members that are in the sort of entertainment music sort of side of things, companies like Mood Media that we talked about recently, or those types of organizations. And I'm wondering if there's something there, right, that they could be sort of getting involved in this type of mobile experiential, entertainment, right? Maybe it's as part of their charitable work that they do, or their social good work. But, I think anytime I see stories like this where you're taking tech and you're bringing it into an environment where there's just so much need, and there's just so much opportunity to create, a great experience, a great feeling, and what that means in terms of your brand and what it can do for your brand, I think is needs to be applauded. So I just wanted to highlight the story. I thought it was pretty cool to see that they're doing this. What are your thoughts?
No, I think this is great. It definitely is like a feel good story. And I do think that it's so important to be investing in, our senior citizens, and, making like those types of efforts in our community. But I do think that there's a monetization around this as well, right? You've got lots of like birthday parties happening outside, and, lots of opportunities to have this type of a, like bring things to you, again, that convenience factor. So I think that it's great when you see technology working and giving back, but I also think that there's even more, even more so there is additional like promise to do this and expand this at, a larger level. So it's a good story.
Yeah. So that's it. That's our show for this week. Some really interesting brand retail stories there. a mixture of sort of entertainment and new revenue opportunities that are going on, and and some interesting tech for us absent-minded people that misplace things. So yeah, so that's our show. You've been listening to episode number 538, and we thank you for your time. Please reach out to us if you have story ideas or feedback, and of course we'll be back next week with another show, maybe a guest, who knows. You'll have to tune in to find out. So we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.